Clinical trials are research studies that test the effects of new or existing medical interventions on human participants. These interventions can be anything from medications and devices to surgeries and behavioral therapies. The goal of clinical trials is to determine the safety and efficacy, effectiveness, of the intervention. Here's a breakdown of key aspects of clinical trials. Purpose: to assess the safety and effectiveness of new drugs, therapies, or medical devices. To refine existing treatments and compare them to new ones. To gather data on how well an intervention works for different populations. Participants: people volunteer to participate in clinical trials. Eligibility criteria are set to ensure participants have the condition being studied and meet specific health requirements. Regulation and oversight: clinical trials are heavily regulated to protect participants. They require approval from ethics committees and regulatory bodies before commencing. Benefits: offer potential access to new treatments before they are widely available, contribute to medical advancements and improve future healthcare options, provide participants with close medical monitoring and potential benefits from the intervention. Challenges: there's no guarantee of receiving the new treatment. Placebos are used in some trials. Potential for side effects: although closely monitored, time commitment and potential for inconvenience associated with trial procedures. A clinical trial is a research study conducted to evaluate the safety, efficacy, and/or effectiveness of a medical intervention, such as a drug, vaccine, medical device, diagnostic test, or treatment regimen, in humans. Clinical trials are essential for advancing medical knowledge, developing new therapies, improving patient care, and informing healthcare decisions. Key components of a clinical trial include study design. Clinical trials are carefully designed to address specific research questions and objectives. The study design may be randomized, control-blinded, single-blind or double-blind, crossover, parallel group, or factorial, depending on the research goals and the intervention being tested. Participants, subjects. Clinical trial participants, also known as subjects or volunteers, are individuals who meet the eligibility criteria and voluntarily agree to participate in the study. Participants may include patients with a specific medical condition, healthy individuals, or both. Informed consent. Before enrolling in a clinical trial, participants must provide informed consent, which involves receiving detailed information about the study, its purpose, procedures, potential risks and benefits, and their rights as research subjects. Informed consent ensures that participants can make an informed decision about participating in the trial. Intervention, treatment. The intervention being tested in a trial can vary depending on the study objectives. It may involve investigational drugs, biologics, vaccines, medical devices, surgical procedures, behavioral interventions, or lifestyle modifications. Control group. In many clinical trials, participants are randomly assigned to one or more treatment groups and a control group. The control group may receive a placebo, an active substance, or standard of care treatment for comparison purposes. Outcome measures. Clinical trials typically include specific outcome measures or endpoints to assess the safety, efficacy, and/or effectiveness of the intervention. These endpoints may be clinical, for example, improvement in symptoms, disease progression, biochemical, physiological, or patient-reported outcomes. Study phases. Clinical trials are often conducted in multiple phases to systematically evaluate the intervention's safety and effectiveness. The phases include Phase I, safety, Phase II, efficacy, Phase III, efficacy and safety, and Phase IV, post-marketing surveillance. Regulatory oversight. Clinical trials are subject to regulatory oversight by government agencies, such as the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, or the European Medicines Agency, EMA, to ensure compliance with ethical and scientific standards, patient safety, and data integrity. Data collection and analysis. Clinical trial data are collected through standardized procedures and analyzed using statistical methods to determine the intervention's effects and draw conclusions about its safety and efficacy. Publication and reporting. The results of clinical trials are typically published in scientific journals and disseminated to healthcare professionals, researchers, policymakers, and the public. Transparent reporting of trial results is essential for informing medical practice, regulatory decisions, and future research. A clinical trial phase 1, this is the earliest phase and involves a small group of healthy volunteers, usually 20-80 people. The primary focus is on safety. Researchers assess how the intervention is tolerated by the body and identify any potential side effects. Dosing is also explored in this phase to determine the safest and most effective amount to be administered. Phase 2. This phase involves a larger group of people, typically 100-300. Who have the specific condition the intervention is targeting. The main goals are to evaluate the effectiveness of the intervention for the targeted condition and to further investigate AR safety. Researchers also gather more data on side effects and refine the optimal dosage. Not all interventions that pass phase I make it to phase 2. Phase 3. This is our large-scale trial involving hundreds to thousands of participants. The new intervention is compared to our standard treatment, if available, or our placebo, an active substance, to definitively assess its effectiveness. Researchers continue to monitor for safety and gather detailed data on side effects. Phase 4. These area post-marketing studies are conducted after an intervention has been approved for general use. The goal is to monitor the long-term effects and safety of the intervention in a broader population. Phase 4 studies can also explore new uses for an already approved treatment. Additional phases. In some cases, there might be a phase 0A before phase I. These area microdosing studies are involving a very small number of participants to gather preliminary information about a new drug's absorption and metabolism in the body. Some trials may also have a phase IV which focuses on specific subgroups within the population that the intervention is approved. Disclaimer: this channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities, and all contents provided by this channel are meant for educational purposes only. Any copyrighted material on these slides is included as fair use for educational purposes only. It will be removed at the request of copyright owners.